All right, Vicky, are you ready? We've got ourselves the matchup, Sentinels, Swamp Gaming. Here we go on the pick and ban phase. So important. And we know who's leading the helm over there with Crimzo making the picks as the coach and Melophobia on the opposition. Reed Richard, he waves to us down below. Gambit, Elsa. We've seen this before. Going to be our opening bans with the save going to Elsa. Melophobia going to get their pick.
And it depends on how you want to really utilize like Gambit comes if you get away with it, which is something that Sentinels already noted. That's why it's the first thing off the table while the second ban goes forward to the Mantis. While they want to be able to protect their Mantis here, Cozy, they want to get that damage boost to help enable Kurova, or rather Yusher and Rymazing.
Yeah, with the Mantis save and pick like that, because we said this early that Rymazing has this incredible flexibility. He's going to go over and play the Mantis. That's going to have Yusher having to carry a large load for the DPS department. Kurova, he's begging for that Adam ban because then it opens up other options. But if it is left available, the Golden God, and dare I say the Living Tribunal costume, you know what's up there, chat. Will be making an appearance potentially, but the ban on Gambit is going to come from the back end. A little surprised that that snuck in instead of the Mantis, but I think that's the game plan all along. They don't want the Gambit. They're going to play the game that they want to play. There goes Adam Warlock, saving the last ban. Everybody's excitement going to kind of settle for a second, and I think that's a big thing to shut down Sentinels, especially, again, on this domination where you've got to play perfect. There's the Daredevil save, though, Vic.
Yeah, because you were talking about it in one of our earlier series, Cozy, that having Adam on Dom is just so brutal. And when it comes to looking at Kurova, how many times have we said Kurova, it seems like the embodiment of Adam, right? So now you try to go into where you can work off of, and with the Jeff ban being the very last one that Sentinels puts down onto Swamp Gaming, now we get to see everybody lock in, but guess what? They let the devil out of jail, and Daze is able to flex right back over onto that role. Again, they're feeling very confident just after talking to them alone and seeing how Sentinels is going to try to bring out their best. Kurova going over to the Invisible Woman. There's also been a good amount of time for these team, specifically Sentinels, to really figure out what those weak spots were compared to what we saw in Georgia.
For sure, and with Mori out, I mean, all eyes on Flamey, and what a great addition, because I think Flamey is a absolute, just crazy strategist on the Loki, especially we saw in the past with the Intergalactic Squad. So now here, and with Kurova not having Adam, first of all, he's used to it. All right, the man is used to this guy being banned, and even when Adam was out of the meta, was able to flex over, play plenty of Sue, so that's what we're going to see here. Yusher, this is where we've got to see kind of the battle of Yusher versus Melo. You've got a lot of poke points here, and we're going to see who can get the best of these sight lines, because if Yusher is able to get those important picks early, I believe with the triple strat, they can handle what Daze will bring in. Daze being this new Daredevil too, I love, because, I mean, I always just think of him as the Wolverine trick.
He's letting, instead of the claws out, he's just letting the dive in instead.
The devil out.
The devil in, literally, right? I say he's dive because it's like that PTSD, but then you also allow Melo to pop off. I think it's really important to highlight like how strong this backline from Swamp Gaming is, to the point where Sentinels had to ban out 4 strategists just onto Swamp Gaming alone. Let's see if that's going to bite them, though, after we see the way that these duelists play out.
Yeah, Valentina's like, I don't need the buff here for the White Fox. We're going to have it a part of the game plan to go with Daze. We expect there to be a heavy aggression from this team early in our first look at 2 Titans clashing. Once again, point opens up in 2-1, and here we go, folks. Strap up, put the seatbelt on. This is going to be a good one. Dogman loves his Magneto. Played him early in stage 1 and 2. Back here for the Sentinels, doing it again. Here's man going to go ahead and show what he can do. Now, not being Crimzo on Captain America. On the side of Swamp Gaming, Daze on the quick dive. They're going in quick on the target. They find their first bit of the pie. That's going to be Yusha going down first.
Actual being able to isolate him in the perfect angle before diving over to the other side. Crimso's right there to help for the peel because Daze is taking a good amount of chunk damage, but Scatter, together with that tank ultimate, is going to be able to bring everybody together. Look at him. Dogman finds 1 pick, but it's fine because Swamp Gaming have the advantage and the point.
Yeah, Yusha's going to be the first pick to go. This is going to be a long road for Sentinels because they need to make up for the lack of damage here on this squad. But Flamey up to 70% at least gives them a chance here for opening. You want to push up on this point, as we always see in Wakanda. This is definitely one that favors the first point capture more than most points do within this game. Here's man going to go ahead and go rotate around to find Crimzo on the Angela. Interesting pick here from Crimzo, Vic, to the Angela on this map in particular.
I was going to ask you too. I mean, could it be the verticality that we have with the repositioning? Maybe the also like quick awareness of being able to peel if they can. Rymazing with a great pick of a Forky Dog is going to be the green light button. Flamey is going to be able to have the God of Mischief. to get the copy from Rymazing into the Soul Resurgence. Dartrox is out and about from Mellow, and Kraz has been able to isolate Korova, who was so close to having that ultimate.
Yeah, that's a massive pick. But User does find 2, and that is what they need. Exactly as Korova goes down early, trying to get another pick here on Daze. Daze being slippery as the Warrior does often, and Craze quickly with Freedom never dying finds himself 3 with the melee. That's the most un-Steve Rogers-like thing I've seen him do. Taking out 3 heroes in one swing.
Not gonna get the slam dunk in the varsity outfit there, honestly. Doesn't need it at this point here because he brings and rallies everybody together with the Freedom Charge too. And they held it down because Valentina was also able to get that ultimate online. A nice look at what White Fox could do before the buzz, but letting the devil out means it's the green light button. And Rymazing was ready with the Soul Resurgence. They try to back away, and Yusher with the damage boost is gonna melt down through both of the strategists of Swamp Gaming.
Yeah, man, this is, I mean, User's playing the role that they need to. Very interesting comp with a third now, going for 4. Can he find it? Now, this is exactly what they need, though, for this team. And, you know, it's a very untraditional comp if you're coming here looking at it, especially as a casual, like, what is this team makeup? But it's the plan that they had set in motion. User getting the best from the neutral game to its fullest. Korova does have the boundary to open up the aggression. Push in here on Swamp as they come out of this spawn. Crimson going to get a little bit of poke. Can he get out of here? Hello! Does find some safety from their Korova. And it's fun to see Korova, Crimson, and Rai all on the same team once again.
The gang is back together again, but they're trying to just negate these POs. A beautiful stall originally from Swamp Gaming brought them to that 93%. Dogman, can he hit the meatballs? And it's a little bit of deja vu, but it's fine. Just enough of that damage, though, is a nail in the coffin to at least find Daze. But Kraz is going to be able to get that trade off with Usher, who was unable to get the reset off the ultimate.
Yeah, he goes, nice Daze counter there. He was able to do with the batons, but no, the quick neutral finish was all he needed instead. Now, Flume trying to keep their team up, forced to put lanterns out, keep eyes on that cooldown, looking for the copy, trying to look at which one he wants to go with. Gonna go with the Soul Resurgent once again, push on the aggression now. The team with a Swamp Gaming halfway to the point. Flume pushes in. Yusher also has the in-song that he can look to combine. Nothing from it. Forky Dog now going to go on the show, and this is going to be the toughest part to sustain here, Vic.
But then you have Kraz, who's still in your face. Captain America is here to lead the way, harassing the backline again. They need some help because there's no lamps. They called it out. This just leaves the Invisible Woman to try to survive themselves. Kraz falls incredibly low, but tries to get away in time and has a Freedom Charge, leaving a pathway of some extra health as Swamp Gaming flip it back in their favor, and it doesn't look like Sentinels can touch unless Dogman puts down that portal in time.
They were able to get the overtime 6, and that Rymazing has the Soul Resurgence, but it's going to be the quick Melophobia on the Monster Hunter herself, fighting Usher. So the damage is out. They got to just stay alive at this point. Valentina going to go in the Ninetales ready. Quickly going up with the Devil out. It's going to be Daze showing why this pick was so important for this team. Aggression was on the maximum from the start, showing who the true Steve Rogers is right now as the first Avenger. Is Crazeman, who's so far my MVP of this matchup. Wow, what a showing.
And he's going to overwalk just a little bit to let everybody know there's nothing they can do after they burned out the portal. Just a little bit. Get yourself feeling and keep it going as we get into that second round.
All right, well, this is what we thought we would see. Swamp Gaming pedal to the metal, and this is what we've heard from this team coming together as one. Sentinels looking to get back on track. But a lot of this, in my opinion, was won in that pick ban phase, really favoring Swamp and what they want to play. Sentinels, they picked this early, right? They had the Mantis save and ban. This is what they chose to go with. And there's a couple battles that could have gone, obviously, one small difference. But, man, there's just so much getting thrown at them, Vic, between Daze and Craze. And then on top of that, you got Mellow, just constant there on the Elsa.
That's what, like, this is something that Swamp Gaming was expecting almost, like, looking at Sentinels specifically, calling them, you know, they were expecting the triple strategist, and Swamp Gaming were able to answer that so well with Kraz harassing that backline. I mean, if I was one of those strategists, I would literally be crying, and it's 3 of them that they got to work with as we get a nice little cinematic pan view of our teams rolling out of the spawn room gates to be able to contest down in the hallway.
And I think that's why with the team comp in general, why the Angela pick is a little bit puzzling to me, but we'll see if it comes fully to what they planned here on Warrior Falls. We're going to go to try to keep up Crimson once again. Because again, if you look at what they had to lead the charge, that Magneto, but that's just not enough to stop what is the train of Elsa, finding 1, 2, scattered to the 3, 4 for Forky. They all just vanished. Did they get snapped? What just happened?
Mello just went crazy. That was just a straight neutral, but also you look at what Sentinels have, and something else that we need to pinpoint, when you are running the triple strategist, especially now with the ult nerfs, Cozy, it takes a lot longer to build up those ultimates, and they didn't have any defensive ultimates to withstand the onslaught of damage that they were met on the other side of Mello's weapon.
Yeah, they're just playing the dive comp perfectly right now, right? I mean, no, they don't need to worry about any front line when there's something always in the back line as we're happening right now. Quick ult on Magneto. Down goes Dogman. They found the front line in the danger. Forky in that exclamation point now throwing in. Let's see if they continue to find success now with a quick swap over. Yusha going to have to go on the bit of the anti-dive safety, but it's always better to be on the dive side, Vic.
Better to not have to worry about that on your side is Crimzo. Already incredibly close. I have a retribution here. Mello too could unleash the Glartrox. And Flamme does have that God of Mischief to at least keep them in this fight. Wait for Krova to get that ultimate online even faster too, so that way they don't get distinct in terms of how long they want to keep the survivability. You're noticing though that it's been a huge problem to have to deal with Grass and Daze on the Daredevil, so they made that swap over to that no more.
Yeah, you sure. Making a quick swap change is important. They have every Q ready, but 60% and up. They really got to win this fight. Not committing everything all at once, but with Yusha getting that opening pick on Valentina, that's definitely going to open the floor, especially if you look at the ult charge. That was a big pick at the right time. The show is started from Luna. Soul Resurgence is going to match the circle now as quickly Yusha flies up, throws Triton down. Dogman, can he land it? Throws it down, punches it down. Scattergone.
Got him on the forehead right there too. Forky Dog is going to be able to get some help together with Mello, who's in the back line, to help with some peel just in case, because Crimso's also just trying to isolate that back line. You got the God of Mischief of Flamme, so that way they could get that Soul Resurgence, and they are finally able to flip the point in their favor for the first time of the second round.
Yeah, and they have 2 left, right? So at least having Kurova and the Whale is always going to help them a little bit. At least get this thing back up to 60 and beyond, but they've got a long way to go here. Down a first point here with 88% on the second. Flamme looking for their opportunity on where to set up as they're going to look to the top ramp. This is where we're going to see Swamp dive in. Valentina could lead the charge with the Ninetales, and there it is. We thought it was going to happen, and out comes a scary form and quickly pounded out from the box.
Oh, Daze falling low though as he lets the double out, forcing out Korova in the invisible boundary. And before we're seeing Sentinels just build up even more of that space, Scatter gets into position. They wrap up behind this backline, make a sandwich out of Sentinels that they've lost out on Flamme, so no lamps here to help them out too. And Ramazing only has so much of those sleeper darts too. Daze then comes in, gets 2 following up, and it's another wipe here from Swamp Gaming before they retake the point.
Flamme's gonna hear what are you waving at in your, absolute nightmares. And Loki just such a good target to put that on, because when the clones miss, it just hurts the Loki as well, and just so tough on that back line. Forky absolutely with a 360 no scope. My gosh, the sniper here with the Luna, and there comes the portal. This is going to be our first desperation play from Sentinels now as they come out. Dogman does find the pick on Daze. Scatter the gate. Dogman the first out of there. The Color trying to take Good night, Sentinels! Quickly with the free. That's a big... That's a big monster.
That is how you
Disgusting.
close a chapter to our first map of the series.
That was so... It's like you saw it happen in slow freaking motion. The Glartrox is starving, and he got a 3-piece there. What a death sentence. That was a fun one, Vicky. And what we thought we could see from this powerful team in the dive at the helm.
Honestly, when I saw that huge stagger, Cozy, I knew it was going to be very difficult to make a comeback from that. But I saw that Apex Predator being held. When is he going to use it? Is he going to get something big? And the shish kebab with the Apex Predator finding all 3 of those players at the very end here. Of course, we got to talk about Kraz, though, because you have a dive composition with Daredevil and Cap, who are just terrorizing your triple strategists who can't really find themselves rotating. Yes, we saw Signs of Life, we saw Crimson try to back them up, but I feel like even with Dogman, landing that bit of damage with the Meteor M in that first round, then finding another player over on that second round, wasn't able to really find these isolated picks onto Forky Dog and Valentina because I had to burn that instead.
Yeah, we also saw just obviously what the ban does when you don't have the access to Vanguard Deadpool, right? Crimson on the Angela, obviously, they have a reason to the madness, but it just didn't feel like the pick. I mean, you can just look at the numbers right here, obviously, right? And just see the impact, both damage block and damage out-wise compared to what Craze and Scatter did in the opposition. Great player, great team. Talent-wise, they can go, match for match, blow for blow. It was the comp for me that just felt completely one-sided, especially, and you can only do so much to hold back just, flood waiting to just burst out.
Yeah, I definitely agree there because I feel like if anything, you're going into this next map and you're thinking, okay, it's 2 out of 3. Right now, Swamp Gaming is sitting in the driver's seat. Who is the biggest problem here? Because we pinpointed already Nectar and being able to see, rather on the other side, looking at what the Elsa was able to do as a problem, but then being able to have a Daredevil out to play, I mean, it's also splitting your attention where the Elsa's just getting away being on the top.
Yeah, honestly, Scatter Genji Vanpool has been looking clean. Like, if that doesn't deserve a ban heading into the next map, then I don't know what should be. Cozy, something you mentioned halfway, or like actually at the very end of the first map, heading into the second map, the Crimzo Angela, you weren't really sold on that in general for their team comp. Why is that?
Well, first of all, you had Dogman as kind of that anchor with the Magneto to help out with what the dive was going to be. To me, it just felt like the comp couldn't rely around that Angela. And I kind of think, Vicky, you were onto it a bit where you're like, okay, the Angela can get back quick to trouble if needed. But that never really happened to success. And the burst down was just happening each and every time. The damage output as well, especially with the other options available. To me, again, Crimson, my goat, my guy, when I look at certain players, I'm like, I know what they're going to play. I feel confident with it. Didn't see Cap. Obviously, Deadpool Vanguard was off the table, and I'm sure that's a big comfort pick. It didn't feel like it meshed with the triple strategist push that they were trying to make happen, especially once Namor was picked.
Definitely agree.
Speaking of strategists, so banning out 4 strategists.
Yep.
Not the play here. I don't know. Maybe that actually came back to haunt him.
I just want to follow up from that too, yeah, because I was gonna say I was talking about the Elsa, Mello just getting away while Daze and Cap is just harassing your backline makes you wonder. Okay, well we put so much focus on making sure the strategist can't find that foundation. We're talking about a strat line that has a lot of flexibility, which is what we've always seen from Valentina and Forky Dog too individually. We highlighted them for a reason, and you could try to focus them, but guess what? Then you have to look on the other side of the problem, and with Mello literally going down one time, the survivability was there for Mello to just get away with harassing them with so much damage. Literally from the very beginning of that second round, we saw that opening from Mello.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and if you just look at too, just a lot of that comp in general with the Loki and the option to really copy the Mantis, it just felt all reactionary. And man, right now in this dive heavy and thriving meta, it did not feel like from the moment this kind of started. We've seen what Right Amazing does on Mantis, and I think he does play a great Mantis, but that role has to be very heavy in the DPS, department. And just wasn't there. Yusha was there a little bit on the DPS side, obviously on the first hit, but had to kind of slowly adjust to protect the team with Namor.
Yeah, but the Vanguards also just went down really quickly, right? So in that scenario, the 3 strategists will be competing for that heal, and now with the changes to the ult, ults will not come online quick enough. So it kind of just snowballed out of their favor, if you will. Meanwhile, Swamp Gaming just looking really, really, really clean. Let's see if they can translate that onto our second map.
Yeah. We're going to be moving on to Midtown here, Cozy. And now as we move on to Convoy, I want to follow up from Soe's point because she makes a great point. It's true. We didn't get to see those strat ultimates online quick enough from Sentinels, and it goes back to what we were talking about before. You have the ultimate charger that hit everybody, but you also are splitting that charge across 3 different strategists that are delaying what 2 strats could have brought out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like, here's the thing. I feel like some game plans go very well against certain teams, right? Rye on Mantis, awesome stuff. Let's go and tuck that one away for now and try to swap things up because I know what Rye can play and the ability he brings in the duelist position. And so right now, at least in that pick ban or against Swamp Gaming, I think you have to kind of change your identity there with a quick triple strat and go back to the traditional 2-2-2, especially at the helm of what Crimzo's going to bring. Ban-wise, want to ask you both of y'all, I mean, do you feel like there's priority of one particular ban? Because, I mean, there's a lot to chew off of. They won in many ways, I felt like.
I would say don't let the devil out.
Yeah, it's difficult, right? When the whole game plan falls apart, then what really, can you really focus on what the opposition did? Or should you just kind of focus on your own game plan and what you want to play? I think the Scatter Genji Vanpool was incredible, dominating. I'd probably take that out of the mix.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think the Mantis ban is fine, you know, for sure. If that's the game to play. And there's always, you know, when you let something in, there's going to be another strategy with it, but then test that against them. See if they can then bring that Mantis lineup, but at least get rid of the Deadpool Vanguard is what I would like to see, at least in this next hit. Obviously, the Gambit being, you know, left on the table on one end. Elsa being picked, then banned right away. Maybe they swap that up and try to, you know, ban the Elsa to start as well, because they had so many different ways to beat you, and giving that Elsa available is just another. I mean, we just saw it just won by itself at the end of that overtime with one press of the Q.
And you move on to, like, outside of the pick and ban phase as well, Cozy, and you're thinking, okay, well, Crimzo, I'm not too sure how that's going to work out if you're going to be on the Angela. You go 6 and 5. It's very unfortunate, but you can see that the peel was there despite them not running the triple strategist as we move on to our next map.
Do indeed. Match point for Swamp Gaming. Can they bring it home? Let's find out.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, will we get our first 2-1 of the day? 1-1. We got to start there, and we find out in Midtown in New York Convoy. Right away, Elsa being banned from the top and Gambit to follow, so we can expect more of the same. They did swap how the first protect happens. So this next ban coming out from Swamp Gaming is going to be to the Loki, which we obviously saw Flamey play as best as they could on that last hit there. Elsa going to be saved yet again. Don't blame them on that front. This is where you want to see, in my opinion, the tank pool ban. If they go with Mantis again, they're going to stick with their game plan, is what it tells me. And they're deciding. They're talking right now, Vic.
Seeing what they could roll out with, because I always see Sentinels, Cozy, and I'm always assuming that it's going to be like the triple strategist lineup that they're going to roll out with. It's almost guaranteed looking at they see it, and they do. They heard us through the grapevine. They knew already. They took the notes. They take out the Van pool off the table. It was a huge problem. Love how Soe was able to call that out too, because Scatter, he went down like 3 times being on the tank pool, and he was able to also kind of be the exit person to catch anybody who's trying to get away from Kraz and Daze.
Yeah, this at least slows them down a bit in their approach. Obviously, plenty more where that came from. Scatter has a whole arsenal of the dive Vanguards ready. The Luna being floated, that's definitely not going to be it. Potentially, we'll see if that's what they end up going with. Valentina, obviously very great strategist that can adapt to just about anything. That's why they kind of went heavy on the bans earlier on that, but White Fox ended up being played just well. Love this pick, all right? This is what they dive is their identity right now, Vicky. Get rid of one of the other big Vanguard threats.
Noting too, like what Sentinels is expecting Swamp Gaming to roll out with because of the flexibility that the Vanguards have. But is it going to be enough is the question, because they could play a lot more than just the Venom. So we have to see who else could roll out, because I could expect the Hulk, but they protect the Rogue, which means we get the married couple team up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Rogue is such a different hero when Gambit is available. Kurova going to go ahead and show off that animated border or animated icon right off the rip. That means Crimzo will be on the Southern BA. No, Rai Mazing. Hello, this is what I love, the new scene. I've not got to see Rai play the Vanguard much. Rai can do just about anything for the team. Obviously, such a great duelist, but fun to now see him go from strategist to Vanguard, Vicky.
He does it all. Again, we wouldn't call him at the beginning like a professional Ditto that could slot in. Crimzo just lingering to see what he's going to really play out with, because if you do want to go thing, you saw that they protected Daredevil. They have to stop Daze from being able to have these pop-up opportunities. And since they didn't ban out the Daredevil, you could expect a very similar case to what we saw from game number 1. Daze rolling out here on the Daredevil. Valentina showing that flexibility like you mentioned.
Yeah, right away, I already like the Gambit with the with Yusher here. I think that's going to give them a bit more life. Crimzo on the thing going to Groot was definitely something I wanted to see, especially for this first opening. Already liking this lineup, triple Vanguard on the Sentinel side. So funny to see the evolution of meta, right? Used to be a lot of triple Vanguard holds on defense. Now we've got the offense approach coming. Flamey on the Shark rather than the Trickster, and the gates open up, Vicky. Let's see what we can do on offense here if your Sentinels to respond.
Yeah, because you know what? You don't even just have the married couple team up. You've got the extra damage with the team up onto Magneto. You love to see it because it's the win condition that Sentinels are going to lean into. Showcasing that they don't need to be the ones on that triple strat lineup. You talked about seeing more from Rai Mazing, being able to have that flexibility on that Vanguard now. As Kurova's trying to get isolated here, Crimzo's going to be able to back them up, putting down these walls, but they have to look behind them to make sure that their backline isn't getting dove. All
right, now good rotation. You get pressure early on. Really marching this cart right down the street here. Crazy Man going to be up top trying to get a dive down. Ooh, nice little bluff there on where he's going to dive. Goes in on Kurova. Rai Mazing is low and is going to get out to the Rogue, I can't feel you is what Gambit is saying on the other side of things. You're going to find the best of Craze Man, and that's a huge pick on the sustain now, pushing forward. Crimzo, 67 and climbing. Look for that Raging Royal as well with Korova. Everyone doing a good job just staying alive here with their rotations, Vic.
It's been very neutral here, right? You're playing the neutral to see who can boost up those ultimates, and it is Flamay who does have that invisible boundary first, but Forky Dog is right behind him. Look for Mello, though, and to Mello seeing everybody stuck inside that room is the green light to take control over this fight and wipe out Sentinels completely.
Who's that monster? It's Glartrox. Yeah, I mean, like, I hear it in my sleep at this point. Absolutely devastating, and it's why, and obviously outside of just the crazy neutral, the server admin in Elsa is always going to be picked when can. Now we've got the Ninetales ready to, pun intended, Ninetales ready to come out here in a moment from Valentina. See if Korova's going to let the Raging out. I think they're going to use this as the defensive approach. And look for this 2 to be pressed any minute now, and there it is. Here we go, Korova throwing in with Crimzo. They throw everything out at once. As Scatter goes for the, okay.
Wait, but he jumped in from the heavens, came down, crashing down on their forehead, and guess what? The Beal was right there to help out. At least one of the backliners being Korova. Flamay did go down a little bit earlier after that, Agamotto that we saw. And Valentina is showing who's got the claws, but you can't really get away here as Mello goes down next. Just trying to be able to teleport right forward, and Scatter goes down as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a reset as these staggers do come out. They were stalling for as long as possible on this point.
Okay, textbooks. We're looking a lot better here if you're a Sentinels fan because you're able to reset. You sure? May still have something up their sleeve. Didn't love that Agamotto from Scatter, but still was able to get a little something from it. Mellow, dazed, and crazed. Exactly what you're looking for the dive front. Here comes the portal and the pure aggression. Gonna lead the charge right into the Infinity War once again. Slams down the 5th Crimzo to try to break this up a bit as Flamay throws up the boundary. The Roman Coliseum ready to be fought in as Craze goes and tries to find their target. Dive back in as the in-song, no connection.
Huh. They're trying to boot them out from going down the middle, but they really needed to get that follow-up because now Daze is letting the devil out and you don't have a reset. She tries to back away in time, like the way that Sentinels are just trying to peel away, but Daze is unleashing everything while Mello tries to cut out their exit opportunities. Scatter follows up, takes advantage, and now Swamp Gaming win another team fight.
It's like +5 for style points right there as the Glartrox has him in the mouth and Scatter with the pop of the AoE of the Maelstrom. That was sick. All right, now Korova back close to the Raging Royal. They don't have much to push forward, and Swamp did use a lot here. So if you're Sentinels, you should be able to win this with the 30 seconds with what is available. Korova has it now. Press the Q if the ult tracking's ready. Remember, AMER did a lot of that to the team in the past. How well they at it now. So I'm going to go to keep them up, and there it is. Summoned up, ready to go for Habit. Pushed in and healthy. Look towards what Scatter can do on the Agamotto. This should be the biggest one as Flamay gets Mellow. That's a big pick, Vic.
They're looking behind him, though. The Eye of Agamotto comes in. He tries to isolate Korova. Doesn't land its mark. So it's just like you said, Cozy. A matter of time with these ultimates. You have the survivability now from Forky Dog. But is it going to be enough? Because Valentina's also very close to the ult, but gets clobbered immediately. The protection is just what they had. Swamp Gaming, stay alive for now. Overtime. Now they can deal with Flamay. If they can find Flamay in the back, and they do, they break down the invisible boundary. And that's the win condition now off the table.
That deletes the invisible boundary just like that. All three, they tried to get what Valentina was gonna obviously hold this defense high, and wow, what an amazing hold from Swamp Gaming. Yeah, you said it. I mean, Valentina was Crimzo was trying everything he could to get her out of the fight and could not finish. Now, this is a map that we do see some 0.1 holds, so anything can happen at this point. I mean, hey, Caster Curse, we said not a lot of 2-0s happening, Vic, but this will be definitely a uphill fight for Sentinels to hold on.
Looks like those Scrimbucks are paying off overtime here, Cozy. The Kumiho has been unleashed, and the flexibility from Valentina, seeing the way that they had so much impact off the Apex Predator, Glartrox was eating double after that round.
Yeah, again, I mean, this team, Sentinels especially, they've always played sometimes like unconventional stuff, right? With them being the leaders of the kind of triple res comp back in the day. Now you've got Raimazing on Rogue, and this is the gameplay. Once you go in through the pick ban phase and Gambit gets through, like, this is what they're going to stick with. It was singing Harmony for a little bit there, but they just could not answer the counters that came. But this is crazy. I mean, to watch. This is a lot of fun.
And I think it's also a really big note to showcase the flexibility and the importance of the flexibility. It's always important, but specifically when it comes to the Vanguards in this current meta, I don't really see a lot of the Americas running the fastball special, but if there is a team that has been doing it consistently in scrims, it's been Swamp Gaming, and they're rolling out with it, fully expecting to see Crimzo and the Emma, but how is that going to work out if you get choke slammed here, as they're looking to see if they can maybe knock somebody out in the air, but if anything, they could also make a quick swap up if they don't see the composition that they were expecting from Sentinels.
Yeah, Daze has evolved as a player a lot. I always thought of him as a Wolverine, as we continue to say, was a sub way long ago for Nemesis, and proved to get that starting spot, and boy, has he deserved it now, as Dogman is going to find a connection as Mother takes down the Gamma God, continued to push forward. There's the Wolverine. They want to continue to feast. I do like this defensive setup they've got. It's going to work for them a bit better on this side than the offensive side, but there's just so many ults to watch out for early. Mello at 42%. Blartrox is hungry and waiting, building up slowly. There's the punch, down goes Daze, and that second life passive to follow. It's a good opening start from Sentinels, Vic.
Definitely agree here too, because you see a lot of that damage output. If no one's going to take care of Dogman, who has so much of that beam charged up as it gets reset with Swamp Gaming now resetting themselves, they need to have a lot more of that damage impact, so that way they do not burn down through what Swamp Gaming are lingering on. So you see Forky Dog open up the floor, though. The DDR, as you've called it before, Cozy. And Flameda maxed out with the Invisible Boundary. Invisible Boundary not lasting very long, though, before they try to back away, counting down the time left for the Luna ultimate. And Ramazing takes the opportunity to try to close in that gap.
Yeah, Ramazing's going to go to use that team up to their advantage shortly off the cooldown. Now quickly with the diving, going to try to find the best value they can. 2 minutes, 31 seconds. There goes a couple as Crimzo finds Scatter. And good rotation on the ultimate side. Dogman obviously has the ult there. They've used a lot to kind of get this position, but they haven't even touched this card, Vic.
Really hasn't moved much. Around a few inches here from the starting point of those spawn room gates. Daze, though, trying to get something. He finds the Emma. If it's not from the traditional kidnap, if it's the ultimate here, Forky Dog follows up to find that Emma. No sign of seduction in this fight, whereas Swamp Gaming, they have everything. It's clobbering time. Finds the isolation onto Luna. Valentina sharpening up her claws alongside Daze here, too, on the Wolverine. I mean, the kitties really are coming out.
The Fox with the 3-piece just like that. Free buff as well. This is what... Listen, Nemesis signed... We're going to echo this. They signed these 2 strategists to go on with their team, right? Not Nemesis. Swamp Gaming, former Nemesis, got these 2 additional strategists, and we are seeing that come to light as they now just completely take care of the portal to stop another push, and this is now desperation mode for Sentinels.
Fastball special no longer needed here. You got Kraz on Thing instead. Flamme does have that invisible boundary, but someone's got to recontest right now. They're about to push it over to the finish line. No, Kurama being the only one there. Can't get there in time. Swamp Gaming dominating first series here against Sentinels in this first day.
We said we were going to find out a lot about the America scene, and this is exactly why. What an absolute performance and showing from Swamp Gaming, led from Forky Dog and Valentina in the back line. Absolutely tremendous play. Won them that first hold and continued on the second. We are seeing a team that is now becoming quick favorites in front of your eyes. And wow, another 2-0. Vic, I'm blown away.
Can we talk about 27.6k? Yes, Flamme did the same thing as well, but the damage output being very spread out within Swamp Gaming specifically. You have 6 finals for Mello, who only went down twice. Same thing for Scatter. They focus so hard on banning out the Van pool that now you have to consider just the flexibility that this Vanguard lineup of Swamp Gaming has. And you even look to the other side, Flamme was doing amazing too. I mean, you have 27.8k healing on the board, but it's really difficult when it comes to trying to play out maybe a different composition that you're not really used to going into against Swamp Gaming, who were expecting maybe if they're not going to run out with a triple strategist lineup, they felt way more confident in the double strategist lineup instead.
I just didn't like the team comps from Sentinels. I mean, it's pretty as easy as that. I mean, both sides on both. Like, I kind of just had that okay, kind of question mark like both times from when they were locked in. And this is a team that can adjust well, and they'll put in the practice, but definitely a showing that I know they wish they, they'll get back as we open up here in year 2. But for Swamp Gaming side, Valentina has always just led such an incredible teams in rank, and obviously what she did in Dreamland last year. They qualified from the MRC and then did very well into stage 2. it's cool to see her and Forky Dog come together with this team of 4 and really make a strong statement.
And having a really crazy pop-off opportunity there too, right? We saw the dive down from the Wolverine ult. Valentina said Kitty got claws, and she not only portaled right on top of them, but was able to try to harass them, getting like 2 to 3 picks we saw at the very end. Chef's kiss performance from Swap Gaming, and I think, Cozy, that's a really good determining factor to see that upper half of that group of NA teams. And then you take a look, Zoe, at the different pick and bans. I want to like pair it with Cozy said, because I feel like aside from the different comps that we saw, I also wasn't the biggest fan, aside from the tank pool being banned out, of like the pick and ban phase 2 from Sentinels.
I wonder if they just like kind of had the wrong read. Like it just seemed like they weren't, like it didn't really match up with what we know the opposition can play, because they do have so much flexibility. So maybe the focus was just on the wrong thing here. And I also just want to talk about Valentina again. Imagine doing all of that with the White Fox, and we're not even playing on the recent patch, right? Like,
yeah,
this is gonna be scary looking ahead.
When I think Valentina, I always thought Invisible Woman too. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, Valentina and Invis go together. Like, I mean, come on, Vic, that's like what we saw so much from her as a player, but just to have that flexibility just shown to the highest level, and honestly across the board, what I've seen, this team that we've been together now for stage after stage, Vic, I don't know about you, but it just feels like they are way more than one-dimensional. In Sentinels, I felt like this a little bit last year too. They go in with a game plan, and it's almost like they stick to it. Like, that's what we're doing for this matchup, and you have to be able to adjust on the fly. But in best of 3, that's tough.
I agree. Yeah, because you literally have such limited time to make those adjustments, but I feel like it's very telegraphed, kind of like that black and white feel that you were talking about before, where you know what to expect, and teams are already doing their research, getting ready for their first series into the season. I also feel like just taking a look at the different pieces that have made their way onto Swamp Gaming, picking up some of the players that weren't in part of the core previous rosters that we have seen a lot of these players on before, became that foundation. I think we highlighted it perfectly. The strategists really helped showcase not only their flexibility, but look how worried Sentinels were to have focused so hard on that first game onto the strategists only with 4 bans onto strats.
Yeah, I'd feel so flattered. If I were that backline, I'd be like, stop it, you. But yeah, I mean, rightfully so, right? If you even just looking at the very end there on that score card, like the sustainability for Swamp Gaming was kind of insane. Like they just would not crumble. They cannot die. They were so slippery. Like this composition works out so well for them. Like entirely their look, their style works out so well for them. Whereas for SEN, as you guys already said, like they do need to add a few more pages to the strat book.
Yeah, Craze evolved as well, Vic. I mean, Craze Man was going off there. I mean, as a cap at first. I mean, we saw some Hulk in the past, but not a lot of cap from them, so it was cool to see. And listen, Melophobia was a lot of that anchor for this team. I think even going back, like way back, hella plays. I remember, you know, clear my head from stage 1. And to give that team the ticket of Elsa, Daredevil, it just felt like you got maybe the comp that you wanted on your side, but you gave them every little ticket they needed to have not only their, you know, probably their dream lineup, but a meta one as well.
Yeah, there's only so many bans you get, by the way. Like, you know, if you want to try to focus down on one role, I think it's trying to break down who the biggest problems were. And even though the stats, you could see the sustainability, if banning so many of these strats didn't work out for you, obviously make sure you prio Gambit, because that's always like a must. But then you got to look at Elsa and what Melo was able to do.
Yeah, and I believe we do have Melo joining us for a quick chat now as well. After that dominant performance, Melo. Whoa, hi! Surprise! It's us.
Sorry, you surprised me.
For a quick chat. That's, you know, that's how we roll. Melo, you guys surprised us as well. This was so dominant. We kind of hoped for a closer series. Did you expect such a one-sided outcome?
No, not really. They don't look that good. I'm not gonna lie. We were very confident. We're very confident with the new backline and the changes that we made, and just how scrims have been going. That I won't say that we have it on lock, the group, our group, but it's going to be hard for other teams to play against us, I think.
For sure. Hey, Melophobia, we've been watching you guys for a while. It's always been fun to watch you. It's now been nearly a year of watching you all do what you do great. Talk to me about the new additions on the strategist, right? And bringing that to your, you know, kind of core 4, if you will. And I'm seeing a couple guys in the back. Are you guys all together as a team there in person? But how is this team kind of gelling now? And what makes this team now different than those of the past of stage 1 and 2?
So obviously we had a change in backline. Forky Dog and Val. They've been really good, consistent additions and changes. Can you guys not? I'm sorry about them. They're a little rowdy. But no, Forky Dog and Val. I mean, we think that they're the best supports. I don't think we would give them up for anyone actually. Even the people that say are better, like Cyper or Cooper, would rather have Val and Forky. Just the chemistry that we have. And yes, we are all in person. We are living in a team house thanks to Swap Gaming.
Hell yeah.
I love that shout out. I mean, you guys are literally like not only gripped up together, you guys are building your synergy in real life. We know how like amazing your backline is. Valentino is like permanently is always like #1 on ladder is something else to highlight. Like you looking forward though, I think day number 2, you guys saw a different look in our first series. Cafe Rose beating out on FlyQuest. You guys have to face off against them in day number 2. You already said you guys are feeling confident. I mean, if you take a look at the pick and ban phase, the real question here is, how do you feel how teams are just focusing on your backline? I mean, is that kind of like a compliment to you guys? Are you just able to get away from not getting Elsa in jail and the fact that you guys are just able to run Daredevil for free?
Yeah, I think we so going into the match, we didn't think that we would get Elsa. We thought they would Gambit first ban, or I mean Elsa first ban. I'm sorry, but they gave us Elsa and DD, which we were very confused about. We didn't think we would get both. I don't think teams should give us both. I think that's just like an instant loss for them. Because I'm very confident. I think I'm the best Elsa in the world. I think I can confidently say that. At least NNA, and Danny's definitely, or Days, sorry, is definitely the best DD in NNA. Probably the world. So giving us both just to focus on our backline, which our backline is not one tricks. They can play like any backline ever. So it's really confusing. But I mean, it worked out for us and didn't work out for them. So
that's a problem, right? When you're such a stacked roster, you can't ban them out, all of them. So Mello, we hope you guys continue in that trajectory. It was a great opening match, and we wish you and the team best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, buddy. Wow, that's some confidence, Zoe.
Yeah, right. Man, I love just the vibes, like in that interview that people are coming in and out. Like it's giving frat house. It's giving like fam team bonding. It's giving synergy. I love that.
Yeah, listen, I always love seeing the personalities, especially in a newer esport, right? As we're continuing to birth past year 1 into year 2, it's like you're seeing a lot of these players and pros now in the limelight for the first time, or just finding their way in their personalities, which I think is what makes esports great. And so we're seeing that. And again, shout out to Swap Gaming for getting them all together. I think there's definitely power in having your team in one house.
Yeah, it makes such a difference, honestly, to just be there in person, not just to vibe and and have that team bonding experience, but also in order to give feedback face to face right away. Like no one can just retreat and go off doing their own thing. Like they're there together working on making it work on the server. Now we are of course not done for the day. No, we have 2 more matches to go. The next one is going to be between Liquid Citadel and Lunex Gaming. You don't want to miss it. All of that after this.